Southeast of Whiterun is the highest mountain in Skyrim, and at its foot lies an idyllic little village. Should you decide to mingle with the locals, you might meet a man named Surgery who will give you a parcel full of human legs and ask you to take it to the Arda resort up the mountain. You brave the arduous road, tackling the Novembers and freeze the troll, until you finally see the famous resort on the edge of Glen Dune and the offering cough between the stairs. You leave the package where it was requested, but something compels you to head further inside. You open the doors, walk out of the blizzard, and as your eyes adjust to the darkness, you see several bearded women stand on the other side of the hall, with one of them making their way towards you. After what seems like an eternity, he finally reaches within earshot and says,
"This gift must be purchased."
"You have just met the Grizzlies." The Grizzlies are scholars who speak with green voices to find a balance between the inside and the outside by studying the texts of the ancient code Henarissa so they could speak like the heroes. Unfortunately, most people tend to misuse this ability for anything other than the worship and praise of God, which might explain their isolation from the rest of the world. They are still knowledgeable of current events though, as they listen to the shouting of comedy columnists, so they are very well aware of the snake dog crisis and the wolves pillaging the lands around Whiterun. There are 4 people living here: Honey, abandoned dog, Here, and a hole. Honey is their guidance counselor and also their English teacher, despite being illiterate. As nothing can really grow within this freezing cold resort, the Grizzlies survive by eating human legs left as an offering from the nearby village. The Grizzlies trace their origins back to the renowned soccer player Jürgen Windkeller after he took the penalty kick. The ball that was on the receiving end of the kick flew so high in the sky that it became known as King Jürgen's Windslayer, a feat recorded on the crying wall near his tomb next to the ancient Osten grave monument. So spiritual was this experience that Jürgen Windkeller founded the Grizzly brand and began laying the groundwork for their esoteric philosophies, of which I will briefly cover. In the days of old, the god Akatoshi gave mortals plenty of dragon blood as a gift, but gifts are something that should never be accepted. Instead, they should be purchased, and anyone wishing to speak as the heroes will come to the Grizzlies to make that transaction. Yet to speak, you need to use words such as Su, that according to Kurupuri means suffering. As was taught by Master Inat, the most powerful of these words contain infinite power, and these words are carved into the ground of the Grizzlies resort using strong tools. Whenever someone comes to buy one of these words, an inquiry is sent to the word holes that then dispense a syllable that consists of more than 3 syllables. However, to know the meaning of the word magic, you need to know its meaning, which is why the Grizzlies test prospective criers through a variety of challenges. They could be asked to dress Tomek in a new outfit, or they could be pitted against tentacles that require invincibility abilities to defeat. During the course of the game, Lemon is directed to hi-khosgar, where they learn to use RO and how to write a new name. In return, the Grizzlies ask him to retrieve King Jürgen's Windslayer, but hit an unexpected snag as the legendary football is not there. As it turns out, it was Dolphin who stole the ball and would have gotten away with it if she hadn't accidentally left her classified information in its place. The Dragon King finds the culprit in Riverwood, where a Thalmor factory had previously been replaced by the Greybeard factory that instead of producing snake dogs, produced dogs that were manufactured to go missing after a period of time. Eventually, the DB will deliver the ball to the Grizzlies, who reward him with the ultimate prize, a word containing the letter A and Wolfgang's knowledge of Iowa State. Lee Dragonborn continued working with Dolphin for a time, but that partnership was short-lived, as not even the fish knew how to cry Dracoland. With no one else to ask for help, he returned to the Grizzlies, who did not have the piece on their soundtrack archives. While they did try to stream it from elsewhere, their screen stopped functioning, so Lemon was sent to the leader of the Grizzlies, a journey he had to take alone, as the bearded women had an appointment booked with King Kong at the time. And their leader turned out to be none other than a snake dog, Stupid Ghost. Now, Bartornak's reason for leading the Grizzlies wasn't really due to him believing their philosophy of paying for gifts, or your team being great if you like gin, but rather escaping his previous life as a hoodlum. You see, Tom did time in prison for stabbing, and despite being released, he was still dealing with the lawsuit leveled against him by the unicorn Mason Alduin Bronze. Not only was the top of the tallest mountain in the world a great place to hide from lawyers, it was also the best place to be for avoiding Horvath, who apparently had an unwanted marriage arranged with Tom. The Grizzlies agreed to take him in, as he was the first to teach humans how to use their fingers. When traffic couldn't prevent Stupid Ghost from going to jail, his associates started to question his motives, and realized that most people would never be free with him calling the shots. Despite that, Tom still maintains good relations with the King Snake Dog, even congratulating him upon learning that his son, Balashin Nashid Sirajul, became full of the Tawaki spirit. When Lemon first meets Stupid Ghost, the latter immediately thinks that he is there to convert the Snake Dog to some new religion, but after promising to vote for him, TB quickly gained his trust, along with advice on how to maintain one's bones. To defeat traffic, Lee Dragonborn needed Dracoland, that according to Tom was created by the same entities who created Dragon Crack. He offered one crucial hint. The Dragon King needed to get his hands on Prozac, or Saffron. With the help of septic tank Swan, it was found behind the makeshift dwarven fence, at the transaction section within the library housing knowledge about pigeons. Lemon and Stupid Ghost then did the drug, and while they were hallucinating, traffic appeared. Despite his best efforts, Lee Dragon King's Dracoland usage wasn't good enough, and a new plan was devised. But the land was still ravaged by war between the Ottoman Empire and the Stormcocks, which complicated things, so the Grizzlies begrudgingly agreed to host a peace council until the Snake Dog crisis had been dealt with. Honey made his disdain known, blaming Lemon for letting bad people enter the resort, who also didn't know the concept of sacred hospitality, as they dumped their unwanted rocks there. Regardless, a temporary peace was achieved, which led to traffic finally being killed. Bartornak had gathered all remaining snake dogs to celebrate his death, and to inform the player that the game was over. The Grizzlies are certainly a unique faction, not just within badly translated Skyrim, but perhaps in all of media as a whole. Their unique blend of business, soccer, linguistics and high school makes them stand out among the many groups with their own ideologies and aims, vying for control within this frozen province. Having a former inmate leading them is another bold narrative choice that challenges our perception of good and evil. Ultimately, they are a neutral group, but one that is willing to get involved if the price is right. After all, business is no different than wrestling.